Hey folks, Mel the Trade Tutor back in the studio and back with another technical tutorial for you. And in this technical tutorial we're jumping back into the foliage playlist and we're having a look at grass mats. Now this topic came up on my live show over the weekend about how to use them, and I realised I've got some in the studio and we haven't really covered that, and it's been a while since we've done anything green and I'm feeling a little bit snowed out. So I thought we'd dive in, have a look at grass mats and take you through how to use them and what they're for and that sort of stuff. So come on down and let me show you what I've got. Alright, what I've got is, I've got two mats here. I've got a grass mat this is a flock mat from Javis. I've had this for about 15 years. It's about 1 metre and a bit by roughly, 2 foot. It's about 4 foot by 2 foot. Okay, and it cost me £2.50. You can tell I've had this a while. And then next off, what I've got is, I've got this diorama mat. Yeah, now this is from Modelscene. Someone sent me this as a gift years ago and it's been sitting over there, and so makes perfect sense to use these now. Now obviously they're two different sorts of grass mats and they're from two different scenes. This one is a railway grass mat, and this is obviously a diorama grass mat. So let me explain. In the railway scene, because they have quite large layouts, flocking it and all that hassle, and also shaking off the excess is a bit difficult when your layout goes entirely around your room. So quite often they'll use these mats, and you can get them with flock on, you can get them with static grass on from Jarvis, you can get them with all sorts of bits on. Yeah, and what they'll do is they'll cut the sheets out because it's paper mounted, and they'll glue them down instead of going in and doing what we normally do, which is, you know, base coat, flock, coarse flock, clump foliage, tufts and all that sort of stuff. So they'll glue it down and then add their bits onto it as an easy way of getting a grass covering over a large area. Now, flipping over to this one, the Modelscene ones and there are other companies that make this sort of stuff, and there'll be more that come along, you know, because the tuff scene is exploding at the moment. But these are designed to put over like plinths and build models around. The idea being that you don't even need to mess around with doing your groundwork, concentrate on your models and then slap these down. But they're also used in another way, and that's basically as patchwork. Yeah, where you can take them apart and fix them to other models. So with that being said, I've got a little hill here, yeah. It's from our layered hill tutorial. I'll throw a link up to that, yeah, if you want to know how to build it. I'm going to strip the foliage off this, yeah, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you and give you some tips with fixing this stuff onto this stuff to make it look awesome. So just give me a sec. So that's all stripped off, and if you take a look, there you go. All nice and clean. You'll notice a few little white spots where I've had to rip things off because they were stuck down too much. Don't worry about that. We're going to cover those up with our grass mat. Right, before I get stuck in, let's have a quick talk about this stuff. Yeah, now obviously this is from Jarvis and it's a bit old, to be truthful. And this edge is a little bit worn. So give it a bit of a rip so you can see what it's like when it's not worn. You can see sort of where I've had that bit exposed for a while, but if you look at this bit, yeah, you've got a lovely covering there. Now, it is cardboard paper backed, brown paper backed, and when it comes to gluing this stuff down, you've got three options. With this grass mat, what you can do is dead easy. You can cut it out into shapes and literally drop it into field shaped spaces, which is brilliant. You've got three options for gluing it down. You've got PVA, which is my go-to option, my preferred option. But if you don't want to use PVA for whatever reason, yeah, the other option is flip it over and give it a spray of, of spray adhesive. Now this is Blue Tack, Fast Tack. Use the repositional stuff, yeah, not the permanent stuff. It comes out as a finer spray, and also if you get it wrong, you can peel it back up and reposition it. You can't do that with the other stuff. And then finally, yeah, hot glue if you really have to. Hot glue is good for putting little bits down in fiddly places where you might struggle with it to get it adhered, if you know what I mean. So over rocky climates, if you've got to fold it, and remember, if you are going over any curves or anything like that, you may have to cut V's into your into your mat. A bit like when you're trying to fold paper over something that's curved. Yeah, you'll get creases, so you need to cut V's in so they come together. And then when they do come together, use a bit of a loose flock on your glue line, sprinkle it in to get rid of the glue line, then hide it with a bit of clump foliage. But you want to see me use this stuff, don't you? All right then. Right, we've got our piece, and if I pop this out, yeah, and I'll bring this up to the camera so you can get a nice good look at it. It is a lovely textured mat. Now ignore the cork bark in the middle there. Yeah, for the path we're not going to be using that. We're mainly just going to be taking sections off this. Now if I very quickly switch it over, you can see it's got this sort of plastic fibrous sort of bottom. That's really good actually, because it helps the glue soak through. When you use the paper stuff, when you use PVA, if you use too much or you get blobs, it can wrinkle and stuff like that, which isn't brilliant. Okay, now the way to use this stuff, I'll do it on this camera actually because you can see it better, is you can just come along, yeah, and cut your piece out. Yeah, so if I cut that piece out, I've got that piece there, I could come along and I could just fix that in there. You can cut it out, you can also rip it out. Yeah, now I actually prefer, unless I'm cutting specific spots, to rip it out. And the reason being is if you take a look at that, yeah, it feathers the edge. And so when you glue it on, yeah, it looks a lot more realistic. Okay, so in fact, that camera, yeah, it's a lot more realistic than if you try and put that transition on. So getting your rough shape and feathering it. Now what you can do is you can cut them out like this and then just dead simple, come along around the edges and just feather it. Any bits that come off, save, okay, because you can use those for blending in your edges. But if I just show you, you can see how I'm feathering this off here. So it does allow you to cut precision pieces and then feather them off, yeah? But you want to see me glue this in, don't you? All right then, well, we've got a piece here, we've cut this off, okay? And I've got my, my bit here. So what I'm going to do is, dead easy, to help this actually move, we need a drop of water. 1 second. In true Mel style, I can't find my spray bottle, so we'll use a brush. So I've got my little piece here, yeah, and what I'm going to do is, dead simple, bit of water, yeah, I'm just going to brush the water onto the backing. Okay, it won't make anything come off, these are perfectly fine. And then what I'm going to do is, with my glue, I'm going to put my glue on, but I'm not going to put it near the actual edge. I'm going to come quite close to the edge, but not the actual edge. This is so when I press it down, it doesn't squeeze out and I don't leave a big row of glue all the way around it. And if you look, you can see how the water is let that soak all the way in. Then it's just a simple matter of coming along, finding out where you want it, yeah, and then I use a little wooden probe, just push it in. And then once you've got it where you want it, a couple of pins, if you're using foam terrain that is, we'll just very quickly hold it in place whilst that glue sets. So move that up there. Yeah, I need a bit there. Actually, that's all right. Now, if I bring that round and I bring it really close up, do you see that little bit of white there where it's squeezed out a little? So, yeah, we've got our little bits from where we tore it off. We just get those and we just tap those in. Give it a good push. And if I bring it up, it's gone. There you are. And that is the basic principles of using these mats. The idea of cutting them, tearing them, yeah, fraying the edges, you wetting the back of them, putting the glue on them and holding them in place and pinning them, yeah, and you do get wonderful results. Now, obviously, I've only done a little bit and you want to watch me do more, don't you? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these techniques. I'm just going to finish this bit off using this mat so I can show you the techniques and what it looks like when it's finished, guys. So, with that in mind, Cracking on time. So that's most of my grass mat on, and to do this hill I've used perhaps a third of a mat, okay, and I've really whacked it on heavy. But if I bring it round here, there you go, looking beautiful. Now there is something I want to show you, and that's blending in the join lines. So do you want to come down? Now all my mats are on and they've all gone on really well, but I've got this situation where I can see a join line along there. Yeah, I didn't trim it back enough as I was putting it on. So what do we do in this situation? Well, dead simple. Yeah, you're going to need some water. Yeah, and you're going to, a bit more water. Just going to dab and wet the area. Yeah, next off, you're going to come in with just a little bit of glue. Yeah, give that a little bit of a spread around along that edge, so it's not too thick. And then with all the little bits that have come off, as you've been ripping away, just scoop them up. Not those long hairs. They're not from me. And just sprinkle it on. And just tap it down. And that will blend out that join line absolutely completely, leaving it looking beautiful, guys. Okay, right, I just need to leave this to dry up. So guys, all dried up and ready to go. And doesn't she look beautiful? There you go. Absolutely beautiful. And that's the basic principles of using these diorama mats and grass mats. They're so simple to use, and they're a good alternative to, like, you know, getting all your flocks and your foliages and your tufts and your flock box and your clump foliage, and then doing it all in stages. I'm still a big fan of that, but these things are really good for adding some real pop to your scatter bases and stuff like that, and they can really sort of enhance things pretty easily. Now, you've seen how how little I use just on this hill. I've still got these pieces left, and no doubt I will be cracking on and doing more. Now, with regards to where to get them from, I know Jarvis does the large sheets of static grass and stuff like that, so check them out, Javis. I keep getting that wrong. On top of that, I know that, you can get them from modelscene, and Noch seems to be a big supplier of them. They've got tons of them. Yeah, I need to put an order in for some of those, to be perfectly honest. Just to quickly run through the techniques, remember, yeah, better to tear and then trim off any fibrous edges, wet the bottom. PVA is the best way to go. If you're going with hot glue or you're going with spray glue, don't wet the bottom, guys. That's just for the PVA. And when it comes to sealing this stuff, once it's all dry like this now, it's perfectly fine to seal with either your watered down PVA or a spray adhesive if you're using a spray adhesive. With flocks and foliages, I always recommend a watered down PVA so it can soak through and really grip to it. Okay, but overall, looking good. Now, as always, if you've liked this, hit like down below, share it if you know anyone who'd find it useful, and as always, if you've got any tips, tricks, questions, anything like that, that's what the comments are for, guys. And if you do like these videos, remember, you can help me support the channel, yeah. All I ask is $1 a month, okay, to keep the lights on and the cameras rolling. You can't even buy a coffee for that, but you can keep me in here bringing this content for you. And if you're not into the monthly $1 a month thing on Patreon, then down below you'll also find links to PayPal's to send a one-off tip, or the Amazon wish list for the studio. So yeah, I can get some more kit, including some more diorama mats. But in the meantime, I'm going to leave you with this little beauty. I'll see you soon, guys. All the best. Ta-da.